It's a planter maintenance kind of day. My 10-year-old's gotten in the habit of spinning the closing wheels, and he's already found 2 bad bearings this year. One he found before we started planting, and one he found last night when we pulled in the shop. This one spun, but it had some wobble left and right, so I took it apart this morning and got a look at it. Here's the bearing. If I clamp it in the vise, I can turn it, but I do have resistance on it, so it's probably not in great shape. I had a bunch of old grease in it, and then I got to looking. I pulled it off because it didn't look like the other ones, but it turns out it didn't really look that bad, but it did have quite a bit of wobble to it. This is off our old planter that was on that wheel. We had several types of spikes on the other planter, trying to figure out what kind of closing wheels we wanted to go with, so we went with all these cast spikes on the new planter we got last year. Well, they did change the hub design, so the bearing doesn't stick out quite like it did, so I didn't catch that at first, but I think the bearing is still pretty stiff. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to town and figure out what bearing, and John Deere is not letting anybody in the door. That'll be a fun trip. I was like, I don't think we have any extras upstairs. Well, we got 2 brand new ones upstairs, so this one's never been in the ground, so that problem was solved pretty easily. There we go. Next project, dust caps. These spoked gauge wheels are nice and help keep the wheel cleaned out, don't get mud packed behind it, but I think they use just a little bit too long of hardware. It's fine when the wheel is raised and in field position, but I think in the transition while they spin, they can knock the dust cap off, and that happens occasionally. So I don't know. Yeah, I can get in there without much trouble. There, new dust cap. Another thing, where this great big hinge is, where the planter folds and unfolds, there's a grease zerk in here to grease that pin in there. You can only do this one when it's unfolded. The zerk is right here, but it's pointing that way. You can't get the gun in there. I'm gonna put a 90 on here so it's facing out this way, because I tend to be greasing when it's folded up, and then I occasionally miss this one or have to go unfold the planter to get to it. So I'm up in the loft looking for grease zerks and glance at my pile of tested spike closing wheels. There's another one I could replace with. I thought this was just a box of hardware, but I got 2 whole new hubs and bearings in here. I could replace 3 more wheels without having to go to town. That's good. That is exactly what I wanted. Our old planter was the same way, and it always bothered me, and I never fixed it, so now I'm gonna fix it. One thing that's not gonna be done now, because I'm running fine otherwise, this vacuum hose to the planter, the pressure side, was jumping a lot like that when it was running. It was down here number 4, not the way we had it set up when we had this planter built, but I remember that's the way the old planter run. They suggested put the return down here and this return, so I did that. It was still jumping, so then I moved it up the pressure to number 5, and that cleared it up. So it looks like maybe number 4 is going to need some work, but I got the spare. I don't need it. Probably get through planting, maybe even side dress with this tractor, and we'll be good to go. And I might tee this return on the other vac into the one below and put them all together. Got a few little other things I could do around the shop, but it's a wait until after lunch and see what things are like kind of day. I planted 250 acres of dry ground yesterday, but everything else is just a little bit tacky. We're still in April. It's not a wet 2019, it's 2020. We got time to wait for good conditions.